here. All right, so we're officially recording. And again, welcome to the Let's Win Financial Credit webinar. Miss Ceandra, I want to give you the floor. You can unmute. Thank you for coming to the Let's Win Financial family tonight.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. Finally, yay, we're making it happen. We're both busy people, but God is faithful. God is good. So welcome, 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 everyone. We're so happy that you're on tonight. I, too, am a member of the Let's Win Financial Group. So it's always a real treat when, someone from our own community can come, we can showcase, we can feature, we can teach that which we know. So I'm not going to belabor the point. We're not going to belabor the time, I should say, right? We're going to get right into it. Now, I know because you guys are on this call, you guys have had a wealth of credit information because I've been on here on the calls, on the Facebooks, all of those, right? And we've had people come on from time to time to give us valuable information. And so what I'm hoping to do tonight is maybe tell you something that you didn't know, share something with you that maybe you've never seen before. And that way you can be equipped to go out and share it in your community, right? So knowledge is power, right? And we all want to understand, we all want to be able to have these nuggets so that we can help our community grow. So with that being said, let's get into it. All right, I'm going to share my screen here. And what I'm going to be sharing with you is just a quick little PowerPoint, nothing spectacular, okay? But it's just something to kind of get us moving and grooving so you can kind of see what we're going to be talking about today. All right, let me just make this bigger. And I am going to put on my good eyes, okay, y'all? Let me put on my good eyes so I can see a few things here, okay? Fantastic. All right. So I wanted to put this slide on the screen because hopefully this will get you excited, right? And you're like, oh, what's going on? This is an advertisement. So there's one corner, right, that you never, ever, you can take it to the bank, you can cash it, right? You can put this on your mama, okay? You can put this on the air you breathe. This is an area that you never want to cut when it comes to you handling your credit, right? Because if you rush this, right, it can cost you big time. So I know a lot of you guys want to kind of know what that is and all that kind of stuff, right? So it's this, you never ever want to try to resolve a lot of your accounts online. I'm going to tell you why. Like you're like, okay, avoid using the phone when dealing with disputes. Why? It's because you need to have a paper trail, right? So on here, if you talk about a lot of the things on the phone with the creditors, you're going to be forfeiting some of your rights, right? So you're like, well, Ceandra, what do you mean when you say that, right? When you dispute information, on your credit report over the phone, right? What happens is this is one of your most powerful strategies to actually resolve a dispute if you put it in writing, right? You're going to call and do some things, right? I'm going to have another family member here on the line that's going to share with you because we've been working together to get her credit score increased and all those things so she can get the house, get the car, do all the wonderful things, right? And she's going to share a little bit with you about her story and some of the things that we've been doing with these creditors, right, to make sure that her score goes up, right? So if it's not on paper, as they say, it's vapor, right? It has to be on paper. You have to have a record trail, right? And if you're not able to have that record trail, you're going to forfeit some of your rights, meaning that you're not going to be able to take legal action, right? Because you're not going to be able to prove it when it comes to these different type of regulatory agencies, right? And then also, they may not remove some of the inaccurate things that's actually on your credit report. So it's important to always have it on paper, okay? Now, when it talks about notification laws here, this is talking about with the consumer protection laws, right? These credit bureaus must, in writing, right, provide 5 days of written notice. 5 days. Hold up your hand. Everybody say 5. Give me a high five, okay? 5 days of written notice, right? Before inserting a deleted item onto or off of your credit report. This is called a soft delete, all right? So don't get caught up on all the language. Just know that they have 5 days, right, to give it to you, to send you some information, but you have to be able to write to them in writing as well to be able to give them the information that they need, right? So if there's ever a disagreement over the phone, right, they're not obligated to give you this 5-day written notice. I'm not sure if you guys knew that or not. If you're just talking about it on the phone and that call is not being recorded for quality assurance, and that's just for their sake, right? So what I would typically do on my end, just to kind of work smarter, not harder, and say, hey, my call is also being recorded for quality assurance, because they can use that against you. They can say, we never recorded the call, because sometimes they do and sometimes they don't. So you want to have something in your pocket to be able to fight against them, right? To be able to stand on the statutes and the laws that were created for us, right? Now, These deleted items may reappear on your credit report without prior notice. If it's not in writing, like you're talking on the phone, but you didn't put it in writing, it may reappear back on your credit report. You don't want that to happen. That's why you want the paper trail. Okay. And that's the reason why, too, a lot of the negative accounts, they have to be handled with care. Now, I'm going to do something here on the Let's Win group today. It's because we're family and we share. We don't hoard information. We always try to pour into it, our members and things of that nature. And we want you to be able to walk away with these tools in your toolkit, right? To be able to utilize for yourself. Now, I am a credit repair person. I go out and I fix credit and things of that nature. And I hope to be able to clarify some of the things in which we do and also the things that you can actually do on your own. You're going to see why sometimes people charge exorbitant amounts, right, to fix people's credits, because we're going to take you live on stream. I want you to trust me, but I also want you to verify, right? So trust but verify. We say it in the military all the time, trust but verify. And so I want you to see it. So we're going to go live on some of these different websites, because you guys have heard of the Federal Trade Commission. You've heard of all these other types of laws, the Code of the Federal Regulations. You've heard of all the different titles, right? You've heard of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. You've heard of all of these things, but have you ever really truly been on their websites to really check them out, to really see what they're talking about? Some of you probably haven't. Give me a thumbs up if you've actually been on some of these websites. Give me a thumbs up here in the chat if you've done that. I'm watching this here. Anybody giving me a thumbs up? No one's been on these? Okay, so Derek, okay, all right, fantastic, fantastic. Good, so not many. So that's okay, because we got you covered, right? We got you covered here on Let's Win, right? We're gonna make sure that you see it today. And then that way you'll be able to, deduce your own reasoning behind it. Okay, now let's go to the next slide. Okay, so on here, right? The do's and the don'ts. Now you're like, oh, Ceandra, this is so much on this slide. Oh my goodness, I'm so overwhelmed. Don't be. We're going to really break it down for you. All right, some of the do's. You guys know all of this stuff already. And for those of you that don't, you're going to read it right here. Now, just so trust but verify, just so you know that I can read, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to keep your credit score high, right? Now, what I like to do is I like to provide references for where I'm finding this information, right? Now, a lot of the stuff you're going to see is a .com, a .gov, and things of that nature. And we want reliable and valid type of information. But what you're going to find out, that these websites have been around a really long time. And so a lot of them have been validated in a lot of the information that they're actually giving you tonight. So I wanted to put the reference there so that way you can go back and look at this information that I've actually pulled up for you, right? So you can see that I'm just not making this stuff up. I'm not pulling it out of thin air, okay? So you'll see the reference there. So keep your credit score high. Well, how do you do that, right? Well, we want to pay our bills on time, right? We want to make sure that we're not overextending our amounts on our credit cards and things of that nature. So say, for instance, you have a credit card and your credit limit is $5,000, and then you exhaust $4,800 of that $5,000 limit. Well, that utilization ratio right here on number 3, right? That's going to put you up high, and that's going to make your credit score go down, okay? So we have to show them that we have some money to kind of play with, right? So a way to kind of do that is to get more credit cards to kind of spread around some of the debt if you choose, but only if you're responsible, because some people do that and they just end up with a whole lot more credit card debt, right? So there's strategies to it, but you have to follow the rules and how we do it, right? Also looking on here, talking about mixing up your credit mix, right? So installment loans, some people own homes, some people own cars, you have credit cards, all of these things, you want to show a healthy mix. It's just like eating, think of the our tray, like the what is it called? The food pyramid. That's what it's called. Yes, the food pyramid. And you got to have like your fruits and your veggies and your proteins and your fats and all of these things, right? Think of your credit being the same way. If you're consuming all of these things, right, that's a well-rounded diet. And you want a well-rounded diet for your credit, okay? So make sure that you're reaching out to your creditors here on number 5. If you're having trouble paying things, because we know that life's right, and things happen, but make sure you reach out to your creditors. Now, what you're gonna find, and I'm gonna tell you a little story because we're family. What you're gonna find, if you're anything like me, I hate to have recurring bills. Like, so I hate to have like a light bill, my utilities that I got to pay every month. I'm like, no, I just want this to completely go away. So I want to pay my bills ahead of time. And so I used to do that. What I found is that when I own several properties, and when I was in California, I ended up getting squatters in my property. And what I found out was that the laws were not for landlords, right? The laws were for the tenants. And so it took like an act of Congress, right? Like Jesus almost had to come off the throne himself to come see about my situation, y'all. It was that serious. It was serious, right? And so what I found out was that they don't really help you. I had to wait because I paid my bills so far in advance. I had to wait to become delinquent, right? Which was going to affect my credit, which I was trying to prevent. I had to wait to become delinquent in order for them to be able to help me because they didn't have any laws or anything on the books. And not even as of yet. These are things that we got to change to be able to help those people like you and I, right? Who can pay ahead, who has a good and healthy relationship with our creditors, right? To tell them, hey, life is now lifing and I'm going to run into some hiccups. And I'm just letting you know that this money's not going to be able to come in, every month, but I'm just letting you know I'm working on it. So my credit took a ding. It took a hard hit because I had to go delinquent. I couldn't pay, a mortgage in California, a mortgage in Florida, right? A mortgage in Virginia. I had 3 mortgages at the time, right? And then I was renting because I was still on active duty in Jacksonville, Florida. So it was a lot of strain on me. And so I learned the hard way. But now I want to be able to teach you guys how to kind of move around that and how to get around that. So we want to work smarter, not harder. And we want these people to work for us because the laws are in place for us. Now, some of the don'ts, okay? And this PowerPoint's almost done, and then we're gonna get live in action on some of these websites so you can actually check it out, right? So avoid using all of your credit cards or going above that credit limit, right? Don't close out some of those dormant accounts. So when I was young, back in the day, I'm only 21, y'all. No, I'm just joking. But no, back in the day, right, teenager, I got a Chevron gas credit card. Chevron, everybody knows Chevron gas is pretty expensive, but it's quality premium gas. So I had a gas card, and I think I had maybe like a $500 limit on it. I think I was like 17 when I got the card. And so I went off, after a few years, I went to the military. And so I gave my parents the card and I said, hey, you guys can use this for gas as you need it. Well, lo and behold, I guess they needed it every time they went to get gas because my credit utilization was sky high on the card. Now they increased my limits because I was paying the bill, right? But I didn't really know a whole lot about credit because my parents, my mom knew how to save, but my dad, as soon as the money's in his pocket, it's gone, right? It's like when they say burning a hole in your pocket to get that money, right? So it was gone. So with that being said, my utilization was over. And so I was like, this is too much. And so I began to take a negative kind of ding on it until I reached out to get an increase in my credit limit. So that's something that you can do as well. Get that credit limit, increase, right? So you have to know the company cycles and things of such. So lo and behold, I actually closed that account because I was like, my parents weren't being responsible. They weren't being responsible at paying off this credit card for gas. I'm like, do we not have gas, or cash to go and get gas, right? So I closed that account and I had that account for maybe 3 or 4 years. So I closed the account and that dinged me. I didn't know any better. Had I known, I would have just kept the card, cut it up so no one had access to it, but it would still been sitting very nicely on my credit report. All right. And then last but not least, number 8, right? Because number 8 is a number that signifies new beginnings. And so we don't want to have a new beginning going into co-signing on someone else's loan, right? If they have bad credit. You don't want to do that, right? My dad told me, he goes, I love you, but I'll never co-sign for you. But he doesn't have to because I'm okay in the credit department. But he goes, I won't do it. He goes, because if a person can't pay their bills and they're trying to borrow money from you, how are they going to pay you back, right? So it made sense, you can't rob Peter to pay Paul. All right. Now, this is something that you may not know, and this is something that I think is really, really fun. And you guys can go on here and check this out. So this is called the NGPF, and it's called the Next Generation of Personal Finance. And you can get this account completely for free. So if you've ever heard of Kahoot, right? I do substitute teaching from time to time at my kids' school because I'm a helicopter mom. Okay, I'll confess. I got to know what's going on at the school, okay? But this is something that's called the Next Generation of Personal Finance. And on this website is super, super cool. Has anybody ever heard of this website? Give me a hands up in the chat if you've heard of this. Let me see if anyone's ever heard of this. Okay, I'm not seeing anybody here. You haven't. Okay. Nope, Sherwin has. And see, Sherwin knows it all. He hasn't heard this. Never. Okay, all right, fantastic. So this is a really cool site. So Kahoot, let me go back to Kahoot because they're kind of like within the same category. So Kahoot is a platform where you can go on and you can host games. It's really, really neat. And people can sign on. You can have really cool screen names and you can put up different categories, right? Different levels of teaching, right? So you can do this for children and like for English, for science, for social studies, but you can also do it in business. And this is the business portion right here to learn the credit, okay? So this is a really cool website to go on to check out. I was gonna play a little game with you guys, but we're not gonna do that because I know you guys kind of know all this stuff, because I remember being on Let's Win and having people come on and teach us about this stuff. I remember people teaching us about the installment loans and the secured versus the unsecured and all of these types of things. But if you want to test yourself and family and friends around you, say you have a dinner party, I typically do that. You can put this up on the big screen and have like a whole party and see how much people know about credit. It's a really great way to learn. And it's also a really cool tool to use to get to know your neighbors, right? So be sure to check this out, okay? The next generation of personal finance.com. It's really cool. All right, so I'm glad. So I've already met my goal of teaching you something that you didn't know and sharing something that you didn't know. Now, these are just a few fun facts right here with the FTC. And this is what we're about to get into online real time so that you can see it. Remember, trust but verify. Okay, so if you didn't know, the FTC was established. It's the Federal Trade Commission. It was established in 1914, right? So it's one of the world's oldest consumer protection agencies, right? People tend to think that we have bureaus, but if you really look at the registration and the laws, there's no such thing as a bureau. All of these are agencies. So all like TransUnion, Experian, all of those, they're all agencies, okay? Some people use the language interchangeably, just like we use language interchangeably for like a job or an occupation. They're two totally different things, believe it or not, they are. So it's an independent agency of the United States government, right? You see that agency, you see that it's an agency. And it also means that it's not subject to control of the president or any other government official. Not sure if you guys knew that or not. As I've been digging a little bit deeper and learning more about these laws and all these agencies and all these rules, because like the rules have rules and the agencies have agencies and the laws have laws, it just never ends, right? I've been finding out a lot of good information and understanding some of the lingo, okay? If you didn't know, the FTC also goes on to prevent scams, right? So they've taken action, as you can see here, against people doing anything. This stuff is like, it blew my mind. Miracle cures, you guys have seen the commercials, right? This holy spring water, drink it, and you're gonna, be rich or whatever. You're gonna be healed forever. You're gonna have that fountain of youth, whatever the case is. Pet psychics, you guys have seen this stuff. Ghost removal services, all kinds of hoaxes and things out there. But these are the people that you would report to. Now, I'm going to share a little story, and Sherwin is my witness. Sherwin is my witness because I reached out to my cousin. I was presented with an offer, and I'm going to show you some stuff in real timing on the FTC. I was presented with an offer by a classmate. For those of you that don't know, I'm currently in school. I'm pursuing my PhD in industrial and organizational psychology. And this is going to be it for me, y'all. If you know anything about me, my husband calls me a lifelong student. And I do school. My schooling has schooling, right? My certifications have certifications, but I'm stopping here. I can't go any higher, right? This is it. So a classmate reached out to me with a deal about foreign currency, foreign exchange. And I didn't know a whole lot about that. People trading currencies. We have the stock market. Sherman talks about it all the time, right? But here, this individual was trading currencies. And so I was like, I don't really know a lot about it. Let me think about it. Let me do a little bit of research and all this stuff. So I was kind of reading some stuff here and there, but I said, hey, who best to reach out to other than Les Win, right? Financial, right? Sherwin is very savvy with this stuff. And so I did. He made time for me. I asked him about it. He had great questions, right? We got on the line with this person. He goes, you want to see this stuff in real time and you want to see their accounts, like all of this stuff. And so everything that he was asking for, and I was like, right on, right on, right on. The young lady was pulling up online. And so we was like, okay. And then, so when we were all done talking with her and verifying and trusting and all this stuff, he was like, cousin, I wouldn't do it. Right. And so I was like, okay, I'm getting advice, right, from the wise one. And so I'm like, okay. And so I'm sitting with it and I'm thinking about it. Now, I never got a check in my spirit to say, hey, go for it or don't go for it. I was completely neutral, right? I prayed about it. I didn't really hear anything. Let me be honest, right? I was just neutral. I didn't have a good, I didn't have a bad. I had the information that she shared with me. I had the knowledge and the wisdom from Sherwin. My husband was telling me not to do it. But then along came this little voice saying, scared money don't make money. You guys have heard that, right? Give me a high five or a praise hands in the chat if you've heard that. Scared money don't make money, right? And so I'm thinking about this and I'm like, okay, I need to do something. Maybe I should try it, right? Maybe I should try it. And so I took the leap. So this young lady wanted $5,000 from me. And I gave the $5,000. So she said, you'll get the $5,000 back, I believe, within like 60 days. And then she was going to guarantee me an additional $3,000. So I'm like, that's a pretty good rate of return, right? That's really good. Let's do it. And I'm going to get that additional $3,000. I was going to get $1,000 each month. So I do my initial investment. I wait 60 days. I get my full $5,000 back at the 60-day mark. And then 3 months later, right, I'm getting $1,000 every month. So a total of $8,000. Well, lo and behold, that didn't happen. That did not happen. It did not happen, y'all. So I was a little nervous in the service. I was like, what's going on here? And I'm not going to say I trust the young lady, but she had approached other people at my school, like the professors, right? These other doctors, these leaders, right? And she had approached other students. So I'm like, there's no way she would rip them off, right? There's no possible way, right? This would be bad for her. Her whole academic career, right, could be over because of this stuff. This will reflect poorly on the university and things of that nature. And so she just wouldn't do that. But because, I'm like, maybe it's legit. But it wasn't. And so now are you saying, well, Ceandra, where are you going with this? Well, let me take it to where I'm going. The FTC is going to be the place that you're going to go to. Now, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing this. And now we're going to go online in real timing, okay? Because I want you to be able to see this for yourself, all right? All right, I'm going to share my screen here. All righty. And you should be able to see it right about now. All right, give me a thumbs up if you guys can see that. Can you guys see it? Okay, I got some praise hands there. Okay. All right. Okay, so Derek, thank you so much, Derek, thank you. So on here, right, this is the Federal Trade Commission, right? So if you've never seen this website, when we're talking about going on here, checking out your credit, doing all kinds of things, learning more about the laws and all that, thank you too, Ronald, thank you so much. This is what you're gonna find. So what did I do? I said, well, what do I do with this? How do I report this person? I don't know what to do. So my friend, I went to Gemini. Most people say Chat GPT, but no, I went to Gemini, right? I took it to Google. So Google's AI is called Gemini. Maybe you knew that, maybe you didn't. And then you have, of course, Chat GPT, which Chat GPT is great as well. It's a free premium, service that you could use. But Chat GPT is outdated as of 2022. So if you're trying to get information for 2023 and moving forward, you're not going to get that on Chat GPT, right? But they are updating it. So just kind of know that, right? So I went there and Gemini told me, it said, hey, go in here and this is what you're going to do. And so I said, okay. And so this is where I came. And so as I came over to the screen, right, on the Federal Trade Commission, when you come up here, this is what's going on. I basically pulled up screens of this whole website. But you'll come up here to something that says scams. You see this right over here on the far right of the screen. So if you scroll down, right, it's going to tell you how to avoid these scams. Now, this is me educating you on how to, to know how to recognize and how to move past these things, right? Because this can actually affect your credit. So one of my cousins on the line years ago, her identity was basically stolen. I believe they were like at a party or something. Her wallet got stolen. This person wrote a whole bunch of checks. It really messed up her life. And it took years and years to fix that, right? So this is a place that she could have been able to report some of this stuff as well as she did things with her bank. So you can just kind of scroll down through the website here. It's going to tell you, hey, if people are trying to scam you and they're saying, hey, this is from a legit organization, typically legit organizations, they're not going to demand money from you. They're not going to be threatening you, and they're going to put something in writing. So that's the basics of what you know. But did you know that there's all types of scams out here, right? There's government, there's an impersonator, there's all types of things, business ones, right? Even with people trying to fix your computers, Amazon, look at all of this stuff. Do you guys see all this here on the screen? Right? They're using fake emergencies to steal your money. Florida had with that hurricane, was it last year? I think you guys had the hurricane, and people were scamming there, using the National Guard. There were services to come out to help people, right? But they were scamming everything. Job scams. You think a job posting is real and it's not real. You got nanny and caregiver stuff on here, all of this stuff, right? And I say all of this because you need to be aware because these things can affect your credit. So what did I do? If you scroll all the way down to the bottom of this website, you're going to see where it says reported at the Report Fraud FTC. And that's exactly what I did. So if anybody's ever been scammed, if anybody is being scammed, or you need to know if somebody's trying to scam you, this is where you're going to go and do that. Now, this goes hand in hand with credit. I told Sherwin at the beginning of the call, I said, you know how you set up things, you say, I'm going to talk about this and I'm going to talk about that. Well, God was leading me a different way. I'm not sure if there's anybody out there who has been dealing with fraud or has been scammed or might be kind of pondering on something that you might want to do. And maybe this is your answer to not do it, okay? Don't be like me. And I thought I'm pretty savvy on scams and things of that nature. So you'll go on here, you'll report it. What you'll do, they'll ask your name, they'll ask for some information, you'll tell everything that happened. And then they will give you like a reference number, right? Your ID number. And it goes into this database. Because believe it or not, the FBI, they look at this kind of stuff. It's a big deal, right? It's a big deal. It's a really big deal. And so even when Gemini told me, oh, go to the FBI, I'm like, I'm not going to the FBI. It's not that serious, right? But the FTC, the FBI, they work hand in hand in tandem. And these types of agencies, they will, kind of move things along. Now, is anything going to be done for me via this? No, it's not, but it's going to help other people. Okay. It's going to help other people. And then it says your report is shared with more than 2,800 law enforcers. So that means people around the globe, they're getting this information. And that's how we know all these scams that are out there, because people like you and me, we're doing our part and we're reporting it. That's what the Let's Win community is about. It's about doing our part, right? And helping others. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to share another little screen here with you. And you're going to be like, oh my gosh, Ceandra, this is so amazing. I never knew. All right. So right here. Now, some of you said that you had never been on the FTC. You had never checked out things for, your credit and things of that nature. And I want to share this with you because you can do this. A lot of people are like, I don't have time for this. This is too much. You just do it and I'll pay you. And that's fine with me. Okay. But when you go on here to the ftc.gov, this is where you're going to find a lot of your governing bodies. You're going to find rules. You're going to find laws, right? You're going to find all these types of things to be able to give you information. So let me show you how to kind of read some of this stuff, right? So this is just, it's on the FTC. This is just another page that I pulled up off of here. So when you come onto this page, right, at the top, again, this is the legal library statutes. If you go to the legal library and you're looking for something specific, you can click on it and you can just, put it in there right here and it's going to pull it up for you. Okay. So I'm just on the website as a whole. So I'm going to scroll down here. So one, this is going to tell me what, hey, the statutes that's with the Federal Trade Commission Act. You're going to see that there's other acts on here. Like I said, an act has an act, a law has a law, a rule has a rule, so on and so forth, right? You have all of this stuff on here for you. So it will behoove you to go on to here and look at some of this stuff. Will it take you down a rabbit hole? Absolutely, it will. But this is going to be better for you. Elder Abuse Prevention and Prosecution Act, Protecting Children of the 21st Century, Economic Growth. You guys can read all of this stuff. You see this, right? Patient Right to Know Drug Prices Act. Did you know in hospital, it's not in the hospitals, there's, when you go in, there's not like in McDonald's or Burger King, you have like your menu board and you have your prices. That's not like this here in the hospital, right? When you know the prices by the time you're getting the bill, but did you know that you can know the prices before you make a decision? They have that in hospitals for you. You can reach out to your advocate, your patient advocates, right? And they can do that for you. Did you know that every hospital and clinic has a patient advocacy department within their hospitals and they can do this for you, but people don't know this information. The laws are right here for us. We have to research it out. And God's been bringing me into a place, he's saying, the information is there, go dig it up, bring it out, share it and give it to the people so that they can be armed, right? You can be armed with the facts and with the laws. These laws were put into place, which is very sad, but it's the kind of world that we live in. And so we have to put these laws into place to be able to protect ourselves, okay? So the Consumer Review and Fairness Act, this is going to be key. Now, where you see this USC right here, that's the United States Code. Anything with the federal government, right? They're going to have that USC code, right? Just United States Code. That's all it is. It's just an acronym, right? And you can look at some of these things, okay? All right. Now, I don't want to overwhelm you with too much information, but I do want to put everything out there. Now we're going to go to one more place on here, and I'm going to share this with you. And I'm going to show you how to read this, okay? So that way you can work smarter and not harder. So now let me share this screen with you here. And you should be getting it right about now. All right. So again, this is the federalregister.gov. Now, when you go to try to look at some of the laws, this is what I do, right? For my people, I'm going to go and I'm going to look at these laws. Things are updated. I can go on here and I can see the updates and things of that nature, right? So you're like, okay, what is this? Well, before you start to look through the entire website, When you scroll down to the document, look over here to your far right, and it says document details. Now, let me show you how to read some of this stuff, okay? And I got my little cheat sheet here with me so I can kind of walk you through this. One is going to tell you the printed version. So I can click on this, I can download a PDF, I can print it off, whatever the case, right? I'm a go green kind of girl, so I'm going to save the trees, right? So I'm going to read it online. But it's going to tell me the publication date, right? This is important, right? Because this is going to let you know how late this was actually published, all right? Or how early, right? Now you're going to see the agency, because these agencies may change. Remember, I said agencies, no such thing as bureaus, agencies. So the Federal Trade Commission, this is what we're looking at here. The dates, this went into effect October 18th. You see this here. And then what is this? Is this a law? Is this a guideline? What is this? This is a rule within this agency of this publication. Okay, now we're going to go down to the document citation. And this is what you're going to do to be able to read some of this stuff. Why am I showing you this? Because when it comes to your credit, you need to be able to go in and find out the laws that's particular to your situation. And if you're a person like me, you want to save money, you can go in, you can read this stuff, and you can pull out the laws that you can actually put in writing, because it's all about how you write it, right? To be able to get things changed on your credit report. So let's look at this 86 FR 51819, this document citation. So what is CFR? Well, it's the Code of Federal Regulations, right? This portion right here is this 86 that you're seeing right here. This is the actual title, right? So it's going to cover a broad range. If there's any military people on the line, and probably in some civilian sectors as well, we have something that's called SSIC codes, right? I think it's called the standard subject identification codes. I mean, it's been a while, y'all, but I think that's what it's called. But the SSIC, and you have like 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, and it goes on down. And each one of those numbers, it represents a certain component within, right, that entire document. So I think like 6,000 was medical, or 5,000 or something. One was logistics. It's like all different things, right? And so you can go in here and kind of get the broad overview, and then you can pull out the more detailed information. And you do this right here by looking at the federal regulation, right? So this is going to be the 51819. This is what you're looking at, okay? Then what you do is you scroll on down as you're looking here. It's going to tell you the pages that it's located on. And then not only that, this RIN number. You see this RIN number, the 3084-AB63. So you're probably saying, well, what is this RIN number? I don't know what this is, Ceandra. Well, let me tell you what it is. So the RIN number basically refers, it's called the Regulatory Information Number. So this assigns a regulatory agency, right, action, or a rulemaking process, right? It basically means that the system, these federal agencies, right, within the United States, right, this is a unique identifier to help track and regulate some of the activities that they're seeing on the accounts, right? So each regulatory action is assigned a distinct RIN number, as you see it here for this one, right? And allows the stakeholders and the public to easily track and reference the specific information, all right, that you see on here. So now that you see that kind of at a glance, kind of trying to see before you go and read through this entire document, you can make sure that you're in the right place and you have the right stuff. And then you can just simply kind of just scroll on through and see what they got going on. And you'll see some of the different acts and some of the information in here. And so this is talking about the furnishers rule. Now, let me pull this up for the furnishers rule. Okay. What is this talking about for the furnishers rule? Let me share another slide with you, another site here. It's just, I got like the different ones pulled up. Let me go on here. Any questions so far? How we hanging? Is this going over your head? I don't want it to overwhelm you, but I want you to be able to go and get the information that you need at the click of a button, that you know where to look and how to use it, right? How to apply it when you're going through these things, okay? Any questions so far? You can come off mute, you can ask, or you can pop it in the chat. All right, looks like you guys are picking up what I'm putting down. All right, so the furniture rule, right? This is basically, it contains information, a collection of requirements as defined by Title V within this rule, right? And basically it's telling them what they can and cannot do. So basically saying people that's going to give information and send out information, they have to disclose this information to you. They have to let you know what's being changed, what's being reported. It's kind of a record keeping type thing for this furnishers rule, okay? When you go on there to kind of look at some of this stuff. Now, some of it can apply to businesses and some of it can just apply to the different consumer protection stuff, your credit, different trade practices and things of that nature with this rule. Let me show you something else really quick here. I'm going to share my screen with you now. And now I'm going to take you to where these laws is, where you can kind of see some of the stuff. All right, you guys should be able to see it. So now this ECFR, same thing, it's just an electronic copy. That's what the E stands for, right? So now say I'm going on to here and I'm wanting to know some different things about my credit report. I need to know what laws I need to pull, all of these types of things. When you go into this document right here, this is subchapter F of Title 16, right? And it's chapter 1. You can see all these hyperlinks. And so you can go on and you can check out a lot of these things to see what you need to do to cross-reference to make sure that the laws are being used effectively for whatever you may see on your actual credit report, okay? There's a lot of stuff here. Fair and accurate credit transactions, right, of 2003. You will also see updates, right? If they changed some of these laws and things, so you need to be up to speed on it, right? So they'll make those updates. You'll be able to see that as well. They got pre-screen opt-out notices, right? They got duties of creditors regarding risk-based pricing and things of this nature, right? I'm not sure if you guys have heard or not, but what they're trying to do now, it's like, I don't know how greedier people can become. But what they want to do now is basically for a lot of goods and services that, you know, the restaurants and grocery stores, whatever the case may be, during those peak hours, they want to charge you a higher premium on your food, right? Whether you're going shopping, whether you're going to go eat and all these types of things. This is what they're trying to pass now. It's crazy, right? So during the peak hours, they can charge you more, right? And then non-peak hours, of course, they charge you less. So I'm just like, how much more money do you need? Like they're hitting us over the head with these things, service fees and things of like that. When you're going to eat, looking at your receipts, you got to pay attention to that kind of stuff as well, because you'll have a service fee on there, and then they're expecting you to tip, and then you'll have other fees, and it's just really gone bonkers. And this is where we would report these types of things. This is where we would kind of pair up with our state legislation and even our nation, right, to be able to change these laws, so that we're not doing these types of things. I know if you go to some of these places and you're checking out fast food or whatever the case, right? Waffle House is one. If you go to pick up your food, they charge you a higher fee than if you actually sit in and dine. And I'm like, but they're not only just packing up my stuff, but I'm coming to pick it up. So that's just a little tidbit. That's neither here nor there, but that's just a little tidbit. But these are some of the ones that you can go on here, you can look at, and you can pull up some of the laws and the rules that you need to actually use against, to actually put on your credit report to dispute some of these things. Now, Andrea, are you on the call? Let me see. Is she on the call here? Let me see. Andrea is on the call. All right. What I want to do at this time is I want to have Andrea come off mute, because I'm working with Andrea, and she's my cousin, she's my friend, and she has been so gracious to support me in my efforts with credit, repair and those types of things. And so I want to thank you for that. So I've been working with her, and for our agency, what we've been doing is helping people get their credit scores up, but also informing you and teaching you about credit, just like Sherwin does here on Let's Win Financial, teach you everything about investing and how to save and so many other things, even inspiring talks. So come on, and you'll have really inspiring talks to really uplift you. So Andrea has been using our program, and she's used 2 different programs with us, actually. And with this latest one here, we gave her some credit hacks. So let me talk a little bit about some of the credit hacks. One of the things that we did, what people don't know, how you can get in and get your score to be 100%, right? Pretty much almost immediately, is what you have to do is you have to go in and you contact an agency called the Nexus Lexus. Now, a lot of you probably have already heard about Nexus Lexus and all those types of things. So what you do is you go on to Nexus Lexus, right? And you call them up and you tell them, hey, you want to dispute some things on your credit report, right? And so you're going to go through something that's using the Self app. Let me show you this really quickly before I have Andrea speak. And you're going to see, because the Self app is what we use with our company to pull your credit report, but not a hard copy. Basically, the software integrates with our software so that you can see this stuff. So if you've heard of the Self app, maybe you have, maybe you've heard of Kobo. Kobo is another one, Kobo. Even Experian Boost. Experian Boost is another one. Does some of the same things that you're going to see on here. This is the one that we use that's integrated with our software. So when you go onto the Self app and you sign up, right? What this can do, this can help you build credit, right? When you have bad credit, it's like when your credit don't have credit. You can go onto the Self app and it's going to help you build some things, okay? So when you go on here, I'm going to scroll you on down here to the nuts and bolts of things. You're going to get started. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to choose a plan. And the plans are pretty affordable, right? They're not too expensive. And you're going to use like a 24-month kind of time frame as to when you're going to be applying for this loan. Now, let me tell you this loan that you're going to get with Self is not money that they're going to put in your pocketbook. It's not money that they're going to put in your wallet. It's the loan on paper only, right? If it's not on paper, remember, it's vapor. So what this community does, what this app does, it allows you to choose one of these programs right here. You see it right here in front of you, right? There's an admin fee, which is like $9, right? Which is pretty cheap. I see people charging admin fees for $100, and it's like, what did you process? What did you do? They're charging $100, just more ripoffs, right? We got to change this legislation. So you can choose one of these. So say you choose the $25 a month, right? And what you're going to do is you're going to get on here, you're going to set up your account, do all those wonderful things. Then what you're going to do is you're going to pay that $25. So you're going to say, hey, for this $25, you're going to give you, let's go back up. For this $25, you're going to give you up to $520, right? This is what you're going to get back. If you do the $35 a month, this is going to be $724, so on and so forth. You guys can kind of see it right here in the green, right? As you're paying into this. The next thing you're going to do, right, when you're doing this, is they're going to say, okay, you have the loan, because this is basically secured. This is secured. I mean, you're basically putting forth the money, okay? You're putting forth it, right? So you're going to pay this $25 every month. When you're doing that, it's going to go into an account, right? A safe keep, so to speak. Just like Sherwin talks about putting things in an IRA, stuff like that. You don't want to touch that money. You want that money to grow. You're going to be doing that here as well. But what's going to be happening when you're putting that $25 in and it shows that you borrow a loan, say of $400, it's going to show that you're paying that down on time. What is happening here with this app? It's reporting it to all three credit agencies, right? TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax. It's giving you that, and it's saying you're paying on time every single month. So it's kind of doing it in reverse. If you think about it, kind of genius, right? Like, okay. Not only that, after you finish paying this, and that money is yours because it's yours, right? That you're putting in there. That $25 every month, it's adding up, right? That's yours. You're gonna get that back. Now, what you can do then, you guys saw that it was like a little credit card up here. You can then put that money on this credit card. So now it shows that you have a credit card with the Self app, right? But it's secured, right? You can go out and get other secured things as well if you choose to, but they're going to be reporting this information. You can use your utilities, right? You can do that on here. You can use your rent. All of these things will be things to help you build your credit, right? Water bill, light bill, you name it. You can do it here, okay? Now, after you've done that and just reported to the agencies and things of such, it's going to show favorably upon your credit. Now, if you want to stop paying it, you can stop paying it. But that's going to affect your credit, right? Because we're trying to establish credit. If you want to pay it off early, you can repay it off early as well. Right here it says your credit builder loan can be paid early and closed at any time, right? But you got to be aware that the payment history is the most important factor in determining your credit score. So by paying this off early, you're going to establish a less payment history with the credit agency, okay? So you guys can read about some of all the, the facts, the FAQs right here, but this is going to help you, right? And if you sign up for this Self app and you want a free credit analysis with me, I will do that. You're paying for this app, but like I said, that integrates with my software, and then I'm able to look at your credit and we'll go through it with the fine tooth comb. And so now, Andrea, I would like you to come off mute, and I want you to tell the team about how we went through your credit report, like the things that we showed you on this on the database, right? Where it showed your TransUnion, your Equifax, and the Experian, and how we told you to kind of go through to comb through it, how we put you on board with LexisNexis to clean up your credit report. Because remember, this is the hack. You call LexisNexis, you get a PIN number. It's going to take about 30 to 45 days. Sometimes they get backed up. You get that, you go on, and LexisNexis is basically your entire credit portfolio. Anything you want to know about your credit is going to be on there. It's going to show. So you have them clean that up, you scrub it, and then the hack is what we do then is now we contact the credit bureaus, the agencies, right? Using it interchangeably, right? We contact them and we say, hey, the information on this credit file is incorrect. And they're like, oh, wow, yeah, you're right. Because we've already scrubbed your whole report on LexisNexis. So that's just a little hack, a little tip. And probably people are out there doing it. I'm giving you this free information, right? We're probably saying, don't do it, don't do it. But I'm about knowledge, and you got to be able to grow it. I'm about sharing information. I'm not about hoarding information. At some point, I would hope that somebody would share this with you. So Andrea, go ahead and come off mute and share your experience, even up till today, because she actually received some documents back from LexisNexis. So tell them about how you call the creditor, like all that. Just kind of share your story a bit here.
Okay. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Sherwin is I have a money team, and I have a money team in my own family. Isn't that awesome? So Shanae and Sherwin and Ceandra have really been helping me. So I'm going through the process. Can you hear me, Cece? I'm not going to show y'all my face because
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
You're fine.
Okay, so I'm in the stage where I've contacted LexisNexis. First of all, you have to go online and request the online report. So I did that. And then now I'm at the stage where I have received my report, and I did a dispute for every line item that was on my credit report that I was not associated with or not verified. And so I had like 73 pages. And I went through every single line item and I called them, and it takes a little minute. It's a process. And so I called them and I went through every single one that I wanted to dispute. And some of it had just my first name, my maiden name. It was like a different date of birth on there, several different addresses. So it's everything that you've done in your credit career. And I'm the cousin that still God ain't through with me yet. So I'm the cousin that's getting groomed by these money gurus. And so Ceandra is there helping me facilitate that part of my credit, like helping me to dispute. Now, once LexisNexis, I received a letter today. So now once they're done sending me the letter, because it's like an investigation, then that's when Ceandra's team get in and they dispute it with each different credit bureau or agency. And so that's where I'm at. So that's my testimony. I'm trying to build my credit better. I'm trying to do better with my money and make better choices. So my future could be a little bit better. I kind of started behind the power curve because I thought I had to be a certain status or I had to have a certain amount to start. And I actually started with what I have. And I really am grateful for my family just to share this knowledge. They don't charge me a dime. But just to share this knowledge with me and help me build my life and my credit for my children and myself. So I'm grateful. That's my little testimony. And I'll let y'all know if the process works, y'all. Okay, yes. Right now I'm in the beginning stages.
Andrea, share with them when you called LexisNexis, right? Because sometimes people are like, I don't know what to say. So we coached her on what to say. And I'm one of those ones like, we got to be honest, right? So I have a mentor and he was like, look, you got to use specific language. Just like when we write those letters, it has to be very specific, right? If you don't dot an I or cross a T, right? Attention to detail, it can mess everything up. So tell them about the phone call. Tell them how that process was.
Every line item that I had to dispute, I said a specific verbiage. I do not associate myself with this account and it hasn't been verified. So every single one, I had to say that particular verbiage. And the young lady on the phone, I guess it's like a call center, and they ask you, is this your account? And I say, I'm not associated with this account. It hasn't been. And so I said that for everyone. And what she did was she just took notes, took everyone I said, and everyone I was going down, she said, okay, got it. Okay, next. So I'm sure they get that all the time. However, that was my first time ever doing it. So now it took like maybe 30 minutes. I did it in my job. I closed my door in my office and I did it. And it took maybe 30 minutes. It took longer to get someone on the phone than the actual call itself. So it's not a long process once you get the ball rolling. And you have to have, when they send a letter to you within the 30 days, you have 30 days to make the dispute, or the letter is invalid. You have to, because they send you a link and they send you a 6 or 7 digit PIN that you have to log in specifically with that information. And you only have 30 days to do it, or you have to start a process all over again. So, you know, it's a process, but for me, my journey is the end result. You know, I'm going through the struggle right now, but the end result is where I'm trying to get. So yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
I love that. Thank you. And the reason why I wanted Ceandra to come on, because you see, it's a real person just like you. She's family, right? You know, well, she's my second cousin, close family, right? All sure went second cousin, so we're close family. So hearing it from a real person, right? Knowing that it's going to take some patience, but it's also going to take some work from you. I wanted you to see how we work with our company, because it's not just us doing the work for you, it's us doing it together, right? If Ceandra doesn't move forward on some portions that she needs to get done, the ball's not going to get rolling. And you were able to see how she was able to tell you the days, right? She was able to tell you how the process goes, because now knowledge is power. So we're teaching you how to fish. And so I'm so grateful that she shared the experience and that she said what she said, because it's going to work, right? We have to send the paperwork. You got to wait. There's always a timeline. So sending the letters, wait for them to respond, sending more letters, wait, you know, so it's volleyball back and forth all day. But at the end of the day, this is a marathon. We have to finish with the end in mind, right? Just like being here on earth, right? Being on earth, but knowing that we have an eternal glory, an eternal hope, getting to the finish line. That's what we're doing. So we don't have short-term, mid-term goals like that. It's always that eternal goal. I don't even do any of those goals. It's eternal goals. And so even with your credit, right, it's hurry up and wait, but eventually we are going to get there. I hope you guys have enjoyed this presentation. I know it was a lot of information. Some of it may have went over your head, and that's okay, because we can come back and we can clear some things up. But I always like to be mindful of the time. I didn't want to have you guys here super late. And of course, this is recorded, so you can always go back and you can rewatch it. Thank you so much, Sherwin. I appreciate that.
Absolutely, Cece. Thank you for this great information on tonight. Can you tell Let's Win Financial community how they can get in contact with you?
Absolutely. So you can hit me up. I'm going to pop my email here in the chat. And people think I'm crazy for doing this. And, you know, people do business differently. Let me put on my good eyes, y'all. So I can see what I'm putting here in the chat. Okay. Otherwise, you'd be like, girl, I don't know what that email was. But this is my personal email. This is my personal email. And you can also go to my webpage. On my webpage, Inspire for Purpose is not a business. Inspire for Purpose is an initiative, because we are a collaborative partner. So we come alongside other entities, right, to help equip, educate, impart, execute all of these sources, right, that we have. And so that's what I've been doing here on Let's Win, right? I've been using Inspire for Purpose, right, to share the information that I have, right, with you all. So it's right there in the chat for you.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you, CC. And you touched this on a little bit during the presentation, right? You know, how credit has been a big advantage for you, right? To be able to buy some of the assets that you've had. And so I place here in the chat, oftentimes, you know, we can get, you know, behind in certain cases on the credit, but anything worth having is worth fighting for. And you mentioned that this is a process. So Let's Win Financial community, here it is. As you see, Ms. Dilley has a wealth of knowledge when it comes to credit. So she provided her contact information here. So if you're in that situation where you need to get your credit up to par, here you are. You have Ms. Dilley's contact information. Reach out to her, and she will be glad of assistance to further guide and assist you to get you to your financial goals where you want to be. All right. CC, I do realize we went a little bit long. I might just say, if there's anybody, I'll take one question, maybe potentially, and then the rest you guys could reach out to Ms. Dilley. But I'll open up for one question here. If you have a question that you want to ask Ms. Dilley here on your credit here, just unmute and we'll take one question. If anybody have any questions.
I have one question, Sherwin, if you didn't mind. If I just ask her, I see the chart behind you, and I know you're using that as a prop, but the fair and the good and excellent, what is the goal? If she was to say, what would be a bare minimum that you need to have scored to be looking to, you know what I mean, to say, hey, okay, what would be the score where you wouldn't need this service? I guess would be the better way to ask. You know what I mean? Is it like a 680? Is it 700 is, you know what I mean? What's the minimum score we should be looking for?
For any credit repair agency, people are going to tell you different things. So it really depends on your goals and what you're trying to get. So typically, to be able to get a fair, or I would say a fair interest, rate for anything, you want to be at 7. If you're like high 6s, you're going to be good, but 7 and greater is great. Even in some of the 700s, you'll see on the credit thing, it'll say good. Sometimes it'll say fair if it's low 700s, which is kind of like, you're like, what? I'm in the 700s. But no, you want to kind of, I would say, to give you a number, I would say about 650 and up.
Okay.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Hey, CC, we do have one more question here from Ramona, and I'm going to allow this here because I know Ramona's going to be reaching out to you this week here. Ramona, I see your hand is up. If you can just unmute, and this will be the last one, and then we'll take it.
Hello, everyone. I just want to ask about a charge-off. I have 2 charge-offs on my credit. Will they come off without affecting my credit, or will it still be something that's going to stick there for a while?
The charge-offs can come off and not affect your credit. And I'm not sure if you knew this or not, and this is something that's kind of going out. With charge-offs, what these credit agencies are doing, or some of these, I would say, like if it's American Express, say, for instance, right? These companies that you've gotten the credit from, they are they are actually putting on your credit report monthly something negative in regards to your charge-off. So even on that FTC that I was showing you, I was actually reading about that maybe a couple of days ago, and it's illegal. They can't do it. But the charge-offs can come off, right? We can get those off. People say that you can't, but you can get those off. And I'm more than happy to give you more information. If you want to reach out to me via the email, I'm more than happy to talk with you more.
Okay, yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Let's Win Financial. You guys see here, Ms. Dilley has the sauce, the source to get your credit where it needs to be. Ms. Dilley, thank you again for coming. Also to my cousin Andre, thank you for sharing your testimony. Let's Win Financial. Let's continue to pivot the year 2024. That's what we call it. This is an area as well that we need to be conscious about. And so we have our, like what we like to call here, our guru credit specialist, and Ms. Dilley, who would deem that. And so Ms. Dilley, look forward to members now that they know who you are, coming to you for all credit questions in itself. Thank you again for joining us tonight. And as always, Let's Win Financial. Let's continue to win. You guys be blessed. Have a great night. Thanks, Ms. Dilley.